Hey guys, Richard at Writing's Room here, doing my latest review, this time back in my actual room for Doctor Who New Series 1. Notice I keep calling it new because I think for years I always just did that since, I know they called the old one season, but English shows generally weren't called seasons. Well, I know the way the show ran, it worked as a season, going by what I hear is correct technically, but this has always been Series 1, but I've just, rather than calling it Series 27 or something, just New Series, just easiest. Yeah, New Series 1, Episode 8, Father's Day. Now, always love this episode, and this without doubt is one I've watched plenty of times over the years, unlike Long Game and the Slitheen ones. Yeah, it was not 10 years ago I last watched this, and this has always been one of my favourite. Reminds me of an episode in Series 5. So yeah, last episode felt like low budget, even though it was set on a space station in the future. It felt like it was a lower budget episode, but maybe not as obvious. This one, however, definitely does. So it's like it's quite a basic story. So plot is Rose is thinking about her dad, who of course died when she was just as a child, and how she was in Sims. She goes to see him getting married, and then she remembers how he died alone with no one on the street corner. So she asks the doctor to take her there. She doesn't simply sit by his side while he dies. She actually, on a second attempt, stops his death, and it just causes all hell to break loose. So yeah, that hell that breaks loose are these Reapers, like these little pterodactyl-esque demonic creatures who basically show up to sterilise the wound when time's been damaged. Now, strange thing about this, I suppose this is a spoiler for later, I should probably mention it though, these things have never come back since. I've always wondered why. I don't know if they just got poor response from the fans. They cost money, whereas just simply not having anything like this is a lot cheaper, obviously. Or they only work because this is a personal timeline. Excuse me. Someone's personal timeline being affected. I think in a canon type way, in terms of the story, actually things having to matter later in terms of continuity. It's probably that it's only if your personal time has been changed, but it's probably just a case of saving money. And they're a bit bizarre, and it'd be strange to use these things over and over. So yeah, they basically show up to kill everyone in sight as their way of fixing damage to time. That doesn't need to solve anything. But yeah, that's it. And basically the Doctor, Rose, and then of course her dad and mum from 1987 end up trapped in this church, and he's trying to find a way to stop it. So it's absolutely love this episode. So yeah, barring those creatures being special effects heavy, and then a bit where the car that's meant to run Rose's dad over is in a sort of loop, where sort of disappears and reappears. It definitely feels a bit cheaper. There's no big name actors that are new to the episode. Guy plays Pete's absolutely great, but I doubt he's the highest earning actor they could have brought in. So it's probably is the lower budget episode, but it works really, really well. Another episode set on Earth, slightly in the past, but it's not really a problem. And it's just a good story. So the main thing is, of course, Rose has stopped the death from dying, which has caused problems. The Doctor's fuming because he feels like Rose has just simply found a way to take advantage of the gift of time travel, and he plans to leave her there. And of course, I remember actually when this came out, a lot of people were saying things like, "Oh, the Doctor's just alien, doesn't understand Rose's pain," but then he understands it better than anyone. He has an entire again, more Time War references. His whole family, his people, his family, his planet, everything died, and he knows, he could go back and save it, but he can't. Something's just too big. Rose claims that saving one person isn't going to make any real difference, since he's not as big as the Doctor's family. He says that's not how it works. You've changed history. Someone's no, that wasn't back then, and yeah, it does cause damage. And yeah, I can see why Rose would be mad, because it doesn't feel like it's a big change, just like an ordinary person. But then, of course, the Doctor's hurt because of what he's gone through, knowing he can't ever go back and stop what's happened. And it's a really good episode. The guy plays Pete. He's obviously great. Him and Rose are a great bond. He works out fairly quickly who Rose is, even though Jackie doesn't until the end. They have some nice moments. Rose, of course, going around the fact that he's not there in the future and why she's come back to that day. And it's just such a good story. It's very personal. I've never had any parents die or anything, because I can't imagine what it's like to go life without one. But you really feel that Rose really just wants her dad in her life. And it works so well. So in the end, they stop it. The Doctor finds a way to, after he gets trapped in the church, to basically bring the TARDIS through, undo the damage, as in everyone who died gets brought back, but Pete will actually stay alive. He's being kind to Rose and Pete. He's he knows there's another way, but he's just being good to them. And that's one of the things I love about the Doctor. He really does want to do the right thing for everyone where he can. There's this nice scene when the couple were meant to get married, talk to him about their fears, and they just think they're not important. He completely disagrees, and that's what I've always liked about Doctor Who. The Doctor believes that everyone is important, even if it's just anyone not that important in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't matter. Every life matters, and it's nice to see him. He knows the way they could solve the problem. Pete basically has to sacrifice himself and get hit by the car, but he doesn't want that. He's trying to be kind to Rose and Pete, because what the plan he comes up with, Pete will live. Everyone forgets what's happened, but Pete doesn't have to die. But when Rose screws up, she makes contact with her baby self, and one of the creatures gets in. Of course, the Doctor sacrifices himself, and there's nothing they can do. Pete, in the end, knows. He works it out. He's known the Doctor knew all along what to do, but the Doctor there, he sacrifices himself, goes out, runs out into the road, gets hit by the car, and dies. This time, Rose actually goes to him, and it changes history a little bit, easily for the better, because the original story is Pete just got run over by some hit and run young driver, but this time Pete was just standing in the road, got run over, and the driver stopped and waited for the ambulance. So it's nice that there's like a little change made to make Pete's death a little bit better. But great episode. Again, different from the cheaper ones, but what the hell? Episode called Amy's Choice in Series 5 always reminded me of that one. It's like a low budget personal episode set in a small location, and it's always reminded me of that one, and this is absolutely one I've watched over and over. So absolutely love the episode. Watch it without a doubt. It's not connected to the larger story at all, and a lot of Doctor Who tends to excel there, where the best episodes, again, I'll throw in a name, Series 5, Vincent and the Doctor, nothing to do, minus a little bit of a mention to the larger story, but the self-contained stories can sometimes be the best ones, and absolutely put this among the top of Series 5. Series 1. So this is it. So next episode, again, two-parter, but I'll be doing it much like the series finale, just one at a time. Stephen Moffat's first episode, called The Empty Child, basically the gas mask child. Everyone remembers this, so I'm looking forward to doing this review. So I'll do this next time tomorrow, and see you then. Thank you.